Abuse of any form is not godly, regardless of whether you're Christian or non-Christian. It's demonic, it's horrible. Last week I looked at verbal abuse. This week I'll be looking at emotional abuse. We've been taught to overlook verbal abuse and emotional abuse, and we are told it is normal because we live in a fallen world, we are a fallen people. So they kind of give us a preparation to accepting and taking it as normal, really. It's natural for one to be abused. However, I would like to encourage anyone out there that abuse of any kind is not healthy. Abuse of any kind is not natural. This month of May is a mental health month. I want to encourage anyone out there who is undergoing abuse, please seek help. Seek help from certified therapists or counselors who understand abuse. Just because a person is a counselor does not necessarily mean they understand abuse. Welcome to my channel. It's dedicated towards creating narcissistic abuse awareness, more so from a biblical standpoint, and I'll also be discussing other general life issues. Narcissistic abuse is domestic violence. It manifests itself in several different ways. Verbal abuse is usually the precursor to emotional abuse. You're going to realize that there are overlapping issues between the verbal and emotional. The thing is that the verbal artillery affects your emotional state. In the Bible, I'm going to draw from Leah's story about emotional abuse. In Genesis, we have the story of Jacob marrying Leah and Rachel, and Laban behind the entire arrangement. When Jacob ran away from home after the birthright issue with his brother Esau, his mother sends him to her brother Laban. Laban was a very sinister man. He was a godless man. He didn't reflect, his character did not reflect his name. Laban means white. White, we are looking at purity, we are looking at holiness, being set apart unto the purposes of God. Everyone had to serve him, everyone had to bow to him. So we find that Jacob now eventually joins this family. He falls in love with Rachel. Laban knew. He goes to Jacob and he's like, I don't want you to work for free. I don't want to exploit you. A narcissist, a malignant narcissist saying, I don't want to exploit you. So Jacob is like, you could give me Rachel's hand in marriage. And Laban is like, cool, work 7 years. 7 years go by so fast, like I think 7 days for Jacob. Eventually, then the wedding night, Laban switches the daughters. Jacob wakes up the next morning, lo and behold, it's Leah. He's heartbroken. And he goes to his father-in-law. What in the world did you do? And he's like, by culture, the younger daughter cannot get married when the older one is still in the house. You really see how conniving he was. He did not care about the feelings of his daughters, about Jacob. All he wanted was to reign in the situation. Breaks Rachel's heart, who I'm certain got to learn of the things at the last moment, because the entire time she has been hoping and waiting. They must have been taking these long walks here, talking about the goodness of God, because Jacob was a man who was after God's heart. He was the man of the tents, and tents speak of the tabernacle, God's dwelling. And Rachel, who was a shepherdess, you're looking at the typology of Christ here. So Rachel and Jacob actually connected at a godly level. I know Jacob is known to be the deceiver, but this is going to be totally different from what you're accustomed to. Jacob was actually a man of the tent. Leah is now thrust into the midst of all this chaos. Yes, she had weak eyes, but she wasn't Jacob's, type. To the point that Laban tells Jacob, spend 1 week with her as culture dictates, and then after you can go and marry Rachel. Guess what? Jacob does exactly that. So you literally see Laban did not care for his daughter Leah, even Rachel. So you can imagine the entire time Leah is trying her best to do whatever it takes emotionally, sexually, I believe also, to get to Jacob. But Jacob is not into her. And I'm certain he spent more time with Rachel. But one thing I want to dwell on is Leah. This was an older woman. She's in a loveless marriage, and she knows it. She knows everyone knows it, because the fact that Jacob could do that within 1 week, he's willing to do another 7 years for Rachel. Everyone knew it. So you can imagine the heartache she bore. lo and behold, God opens her womb and she has the first child. This child is called Reuben. Reuben, to her, it is like God saw my misery and he has opened my womb. Like she now expected the fact that she now has a child of Jacob. Jacob would be ecstatic about it, but Jacob wasn't. Time goes by, she gets another child. I imagine spending sleepless nights taking care of her child, crying because the man did not love her, despite her sister being barren, still barren at that time. And Simeon, meaning God had her. So she's like, God saw my misery the first time. Now God has heard my cries. Like he is now going to love me, meaning Jacob. Jacob doesn't budge an inch. He's in love with Rachel. Leah gets pregnant for the third child and she names him Levi. Levi means attached to. What is saddening about this is that her having 3 children, Leah actually expected Jacob to come in. You can imagine you're a woman, you're having 3 children and your husband cannot still attach himself. He cannot carry one of the children for you. Like your hands are full and you're expecting him to help you with one of the children, and nap. So you can imagine the heartache her as a woman who is struggling to please her husband had to endure. Yet we know all these 3 were godly. But who was behind the entire mess was Laban. I want to draw you to the name Leah. Leah has 3 Hebrew letters to it. That is Lamed, Aleph, and Hey. Lamed has a gematria of 30. Aleph has a gematria of 1. Hey has a gematria of 5. We are looking at a total of 36. Now, when we look at Lamed, which means the Lamed, which is a shepherd's staff, and it means voice of authority, training, teaching, such. And then we have Aleph, which is the very first one, which speaks of God the Father, ultimate, strong, powerful, 1000. It has a pictogram of the ox head. Then the last one, Hey, which has a pictogram of a man with hands held up towards the heavens, which speaks of the revelation, look, behold, the Holy Spirit. One can read this. The voice of God the Father brings revelation, and we know that's the Holy Spirit. With that, we know she was a woman who was after God's heart also. However, she endured heartache in her situation. She was emotionally neglected. You may be married to a godly man, but he's not emotionally available. You'll experience emotional abandonment, and this is painful. Much as Jacob wasn't a worldly man, he abandoned Leah emotionally. Despite having 7 boys, which speaks of perfectionism, then the 8th child, which talks of new beginnings, we still see that regardless of the emotional pain she endured, she bore one of the children who became a tribe. Is actually an ancestor to Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is from the tribe of Judah. Talk of the Lion of Judah. So I want to encourage anyone who is undergoing emotional abuse, stick to the one person who never abuses you, and that is Jesus Christ. He knows the pains you're going through. He knows the neglect you're experiencing. He knows the abandonment, and he is the only person whom you can attach to and fulfills you, because the totality of her gematria numbers are 36. And when we get into small numbers, we have 3 and 6. 3 plus 6, we get 9. Remember the vocalization of God's most holy name, Yahweh? It comes to 45. And when we get to small number, we have 4 plus 5, we get a 9. So you see, Leah was actually also an image of God. She was a woman after God's heart. Jacob, things are not working out, should run to God. So I encourage you out there, run to God during these times here. There's no man who can satisfy you. There's no woman who can satisfy you. Stick to God. I'm going to talk about some of the ways emotional abuse manifests. Always remember this: when you're dealing with a toxic person, control is their currency. In other words, they want you to be under their thumb. Narcissists manifest this control in several ways, and the very first one is love bombing. Love bombing is literally where they mirror you. They appear to like certain things you like. They'll pick on certain interests and hobbies that they know you like. Remember, narcissists never approach a target without studying them. Always keep that up here. By the time these narcissists come to you, they have studied you. They know you like the back of their hand. So they know what to get from you. They know how they are going to get it from you. And they know what games to play to break you down so that you comply to them. And usually, especially the coverts, will do it in such a way that it will appear like you're the one in charge. But they are in charge because they are pulling the strings. They are the puppet master. They just a pawn on their chessboard. So these people are they'll come after you intensely. They'll make sure you fall in love with them. When they are certain you are emotionally hooked to them is when you start getting those subtle jabs of verbal abuse. They are devaluing you lightly. You never realize it. Sometimes you'll think, I'm overreacting, or I'm being too sensitive. No, you're not. They will take advantage of you being in love with them at that point because their love is conditional. Their love is sustained as long as there's something they're getting from you. If there's nothing they're getting from you, they are done with you. That's it. This is how they are going to criticize you, name call you, humiliate you, talk about anything they are going to do to devalue you. They will do that just to break you down. The second thing these people are going to do is go silent treatment on you. Silent treatment is a form of punishment because you've refused to be controlled. Don't mistake it with you have had a heated argument and you just want time to cool off. Think through it, then come back and talk. No, silent treatment is meant to punish you for either refusing to be controlled or refusing to comply to what they are saying, or refusing to see their point of view, or having a point of view that is different from theirs. Whatever they've decided is the alpha and omega. Anything outside that scope is disrespectful. It is going against their authority. If you want to understand death by 1,000 cuts, date a narcissist. Marry a narcissist who thrive in breaking you up so that they feel good. Because your strength, your power is a threat to them. What attracts them to you is what they want to crush in you. The third one is emotional neglect. They may not say thank you. They may not greet you any time of the day. They may abandon you totally, whether you're at home or among people. Then you'll find that when you're amongst people, they appear so loving, so caring. They are greeting you. They are asking you how you're doing. So people around really see that this man is caring or this woman is caring. On the flip side of it, there are those cases also, after they've asked you all that, when you people are having a discussion with your friends, they may start downplaying your contribution. They may say, no, that is not smart of you to say. That is not wise. So-and-so's point is better than yours. There are, subtle jabs at demeaning you, to devalue you at that point. They never even tell you, I love you. They don't tell you how they are proud of you. They don't tell you anything regarding, I appreciate whatever you're doing. I appreciate what you're bringing to the table. I thank you for keeping the house clean. Thank you for keeping the children. You are with the children almost 24/7. Thank you for all that. While for them, the slightest things, even the tiniest things they do, they want you to, go on the rooftop and announce how you appreciate what they are doing. While you who has broken your back from morning to late at night, literally, it's like you're not having time out. They don't see what you've done. The fourth one is manipulation. These people have mastered the art of manipulation from childhood. So you're not dealing with newcomers into the game. You are the one, actually the newcomer in the game. Maybe they are broke and they are believing God for a particular project to go forth, and they get some money. They ask you to pray for them, you pray with them, you do everything. And I've told you, once this money comes, I want to buy you this, I want to buy you this car, I want us to construct, I want to take you to such and such a place. Prayer is done, the project falls through. He gets the dime. At that point, you're now looking forward to the returns. The guy just says, there are so many things you need to cater to. And when you try to remind them, they get rageful because you're now not understanding. When they were broke and you people were praying, you're having overnights, you're believing God, it's like you're living on water and bread. They appeared humble. Right now that the money has come in, you're now some wasted drug. You're not being understanding. You're so selfish. You suddenly become selfish to these people for asking for the very things you people had agreed on at the start. The fifth, guilt tripping you. They make you feel responsible for their happiness. If you hadn't delayed, I wouldn't have missed my flight. If you had cooked the eggs from the other chicken there, the meal would have been tasty. I picked eggs from the other chicken, which I don't like. They make you feel obligated to make them feel happy. And if they have been love bombing you, being good to you at a given point, you'll start thinking, I think I overstepped it. Let me go back and get the eggs from the other chicken he loves. That guilt tripping keeps you, thinking you did something wrong and yet they've been doing everything right for you. 6, these people are going to gaslight you. They'll deny what they already said. You'll even have proof. You can have maybe messages, text messages. You may have WhatsApp messages. You may have DMs. You may even have a video footage of what they said. And they will tell you they don't understand you. You are a big problem. Remember, gaslighting is to leave you confused. 7, they'll be passive-aggressive towards you. They are mad at you, but they are not outrightly talking about it. They are not hitting you in any way. But what they usually do, they make sarcastic comments. They smirk at you. They jeer. They look at you with this evil eye that is meant to kill you. That dress would fit you if you were 2 sizes smaller. The dress would look good, but your body is so small. It's like you're a toothpick in there. I hoped you by marrying you. No one wanted to marry you. So I'm doing you a favor to be in this marriage. Do you know how many women want me? Do you know how many men want me? All to make you feel insecure. I'll divorce you if you continue behaving that way. You're behaving like a child. Imagine the narcissist is accusing you of behaving like a child. The 8th is triangulation. These people are going to see to it that they are including third parties without your knowledge, such that they are controlling both sides. They are getting both positive and negative supply. They come and bring information from outside regarding you. They are taking the same matter to 2 different people, claiming the 2 different people said the same thing. Yet the 2 different people haven't said anything. This is how also they isolate you from your baseline, especially the support group you're having, family, friends, especially long-term friends. The other way is relationships in particular. If it's a man, he gets another woman. This is triangulation. It's all about power and control. The first one is so mad. The second one is happy. They are the new supply. They're on top of the game that they eat. You, the old supply, you've been discarded. So you must take in the garbage they are bringing into the house. Because I've heard of cases where a man literally brings the other woman into the house. They share the same bed with the first wife or the older wife. So you're emotionally crushed at this point. That competition gives him life. He starts feeling needed. He starts feeling wanted. It gives him copious amounts of attention. He's admired, and for the new supply, they are going to do each and everything they can do in order to keep the man, in order to see to it that they are better than the old supply, who is the old hag, wearing just t-shirts. For them, they are buying lingerie from, say, Victoria's, the Riri products. You name all those designer fashion houses. 9th is projection. They are going to start accusing you of something they themselves are doing. Why are you cheating on me? I was told you're in such and such a place. Whom were you with? Why were you with so and so? So you're cheating on me. Always remember, every accusation from a narcissist is a confession. Keep that. It's all about mind games. They play psychological games on the naive. Because for them, they are doing it, they think you're also doing it. And sometimes they can get you to confess that way if you're doing it. And then they pound you for doing it, only to discover later on they have actually had a string of girls or women that have been dating behind your back, while the entire time you're on your knees apologize. The 10th one is invalidating you. These people are going to make you feel like your emotions are so trivial. They are not worth hearing or listening to. And if you're not careful, you'll also take the back seat in it, thinking that your heart, the pain they are taking you through is normal, or you're being too sensitive about it. You start feeling like you're being too much. They'll make you feel like you're a demanding person. You start imagining, I think I am. I need to cut down on whatever I'm asking for. I think I'm being too much. You go back and forth on all this. No, you're not being too much. They're just grooming you. They are molding you into a certain state of submission whereby you are not going to ask for anything from them. They want you to rely on them without them giving you anything in return. Talk of buying a product without money. The 11th is the circular conversations you're going to have. They enjoy these semantics whereby the semantics leave you more confused than you were at the beginning. If what they did was confusing, when they start explaining, you get more confused. They left the car keys on the table. They'll come back and start saying that, no, you move the car keys from the table and you put them on this chair. And you're like, okay, maybe I did that. I don't remember, but maybe I did it and I'm sorry about it. Please forgive me for what I did. You think all is said and done. Lo and behold, as maybe you're cooking, they start again complaining. I don't know why you moved the car keys from the table to the chair. The problem with you, you're ever disorganized. You never do anything right. And you're like, we discussed this. Why are you still bringing it up? Well, it hurt me and you don't understand it. You just want me to forget about it. And you're like, what more can I do then? I don't know. The problem with you just don't understand. You're so disorganized. I mean, it is over and over. You go round and round. They enjoy these semantics big time. You are left exhausted. The narcissists, by they are not embarrassed to wake you up, assuming you people are sleeping. It happened, say, at 5 p.m. The person can wake you up at 3. And you think there's a problem. Only the person tells you that I don't know why you got those keys and put them on the chair. And you're like, you woke me up for that issue that we sorted out. And they're like, so you're trivializing it. You think I'm stupid. You think I'm... And you're like, no, we sorted it out. Why you bring it up again now? What is it? Circular conversations. You become irritable because of it. You just want to be away from them. And then they're like, oh, so now you don't want to be with me. So you don't want to be with me. After hurting me, now you don't want to be with me. You're now neglecting. They just turn it all around towards them. They are the victim. Number 12, they will make excuse after excuse. They can promise to pick you up at a particular time. They don't. When you call them up to tell them, Ebu, it is an hour since you said you're going to come and pick me. They'll give you an excuse of, oh, so they were held up in a meeting. He was with his friends and they were just catching up. So you hold on, they are coming to pick you. You're at the roadside waiting. Can I, do something? No, wait, I'm coming. 15 minutes, 20, 30. And they are nowhere in sight. Maybe a friend of yours comes up and picks you up. You get home and guess what? He comes back at around 10 p.m. An appointment you had for 3. The person is coming in at 10 p.m. And guess what? I was just hanging out with the boys. You blow things out of proportion. Can't you understand? Sometimes you find the covert where like, I'm so sorry about it, but you should have also understood. Aren't you now home? I'm sorry if I hurt you. They never take responsibility. This really leaves you frustrated. It leaves you feeling a sense of worthlessness. You're a burden to them because you're not a priority. You're prioritizing them in your life. For them, they are taking as an option. Like someone said, if someone is taking as an option, please stop prioritizing them. Take them also as an option. Guard your energy. Those who are for you, work with them. Those who are not for you, don't be among them. Bad company corrupts good morals. I think these people lie. They lie. Deception is at the core of every toxic person. The father of all liars, the Bible tells us, is the devil. So where deception is, not the devil reigns supreme. When someone continuously lies to you, you start thinking, are you the problem? Are you being too hard? Are you being too harsh that they have to lie? So these people lack empathy. Let me piggyback off the excuses and the lying. A person who puts themselves in your own situation would not put you through such hell. Hours and hours of waiting, no communication, and outrightly lying about it. And on top of that, when you confront them about the issue, they act like victimized, are not remorseful, and even if they try to show that they are remorseful, it is shallow. Toxic people always have shallow apologies. It is all about how is it going to work in my favor. It takes an emotional toll on you. because you're investing. You love these people, but they don't love you back. 15th is future faking. These people here are going to sell you an idea of the future in the present moment to get what they want from you in the present. It's like this. Let me use this cohabitation move. Come on, let's live together. We are going to get married. When I finish, I'm going to get married. Since we love each other, we can reduce on the rent. And you're thinking, yeah, by that it makes sense. Hello? You've been together for the past 5 years. Or you're on a ball at that point, you're pregnant. And you're like, when are we going for the engagement and, marriage? And it's like, it's too expensive. You're not being understanding. You're like, okay, 2 years down the road. But they are, no, there's nothing in sight. And they're like, be patient. You're a problem. You're a problem. Or you're on a ball second. Before you know it, or you're on a ball tenor. The person is like, it's up to you. If you want to go, you can go. You're thinking, I'm even breaking up the family because you don't have the knowledge. There was never a family to begin with. Darkness and light cannot move together. They cannot habitate. Let me just stick in here. We shall eventually get married. 10 years, 20. Especially for us here in Uganda, cohabitation is literally boyfriend, girlfriend. So whatever property you've acquired then, it is boyfriend, girlfriend. So if there are no receipts kept, you are going to walk out of that cohabitation stuff empty-handed, hoping beyond hope that you're going to get married. 20 years down the road, you discover that the man has actually 2 or 3 more families elsewhere. And he's nowhere in sight going to get married to you. And it tells actually comfortably, you can live if you want. And you see your life has just gone to waste. 16, they will outrightly cheat on you. They know the pain it brings to the table. They go ahead and cheat on you. And cheating, let me put it this way, especially for those who are married or in long-term exclusive relationships. They want uttermost loyalty from their spouses. The very loyalty they expect from you, they are not going to give it to you. This leaves you in turmoil. You start doubting yourself. You're thinking you're less than, you're less. Maybe assuming it's the man cheating. You think, am I not enough? What am I? What does that woman have that I don't have? What did I do wrong? Then they start looking for all flimsy excuses. You looked at me badly. You don't cook well. You don't like my friends. You don't take care of the kids. Well, you don't give me enough sex. Anything. The last but not the least, blame shifting. These people never take responsibility. I'll talk about especially the Christians. They'll always say it was Satan who made me do it. Jezebel made me do it. Whenever you find someone who is shifting blame, just know that person is abusive. That person is abusive to the core. They can never introspect. They never see themselves as the problem. It's always other people, not them. And this causes you distress because as a person, you hope someone to have taken lessons from what they have done. And they come down to apologize for what they have done to you. Learn to express your emotions. Not expressing your emotions is sickening the body. The body keeps score of whatever is happening. The doctor who put it this way, trauma is not necessarily what has happened to you. That is traumatic. But the actual trauma is what occurs after. When you're going through verbal or emotional abuse without resolution, that is where the trauma begins. The actual trauma begins. Your body starts holding in every kind of incident of abuse you've experienced. When you shut down emotion, you are also affecting your immune system, your nervous system. So the repression of emotion, which is a survival strategy, then becomes a source of physiological illness later on. This is by Dr. Gabo Mate. Effects of emotional abuse. Abuse of any kind wraps you with a garment of shame. You grieve, you're blaming yourself for all that is happening. You think it is your problem and not the other person. You develop brain fog. You can't remember things. You're always exhausted. You'll also find you're developing chest pain. The heart has also got a brain of its own. It has its own mechanism. Just like the brain upstairs, the heart also has its brain. That's why you'll find that your mind has been renewed, but your heart is still aching. You develop things like anxiety, depression. You lose friends in the process. You are questioning your own identity. Children who say grow up in gaslighting situations. Children learn not to trust in adulthood. Philippians 4:6 tells us we shouldn't be anxious for anything, but in everything by prayer, let's make our requests known to God. One develops post-traumatic stress disorder. Always remember who you are. Remember your identity comes from God. Know you're the righteousness of God by Christ Jesus. Let's not tie our identity to people. Godless people, also less people, get their identity from outside. That validation comes from out. 2, set up boundaries. Many times people think that when you put up boundaries, you are being hard on someone, you're not being kind. Boundaries are there to protect us. Be as shrewd as a serpent and as gentle as a dove. Know when to kick butt and know when to sit your butt down, regardless of what other people say. Walk away from manipulative people. Remember, actions speak louder than words. If someone's talk is different from their walk, that is manipulation. Don't be deceived. That don't take it personal when people are hurting you, because these people here are actually projecting their inner self, and their inner self is that hate and anger and envy and all the evil that you're getting, that you're receiving is them. That's why abuse is not your problem. Abuse is not your fault. It is the fault of the abuser, regardless of the situation. The Bible tells us not to be friends with an angry man. Abuse of any nature is not godly. Seek help. Thank you for watching. Blessings.